At 6, I'm Deanna Albritton.
And I'm Roland Wilson in for Eric Phillips tonight. Jayden was reported missing out of Hopewell last Friday. Hopewell City Public Schools says he was a beloved swim team member there, and they're really grateful for the time they had to serve this, quote, beautiful soul. Grief counselors will be available in the Hopewell High School library from 10 to noon tomorrow, and when students get back from spring break next week.
Roland, Deanna, that's right. A lot of questions still here. The Caroline County Sheriff's Office says that they are working to identify another person. We know that person now is a female. She was found after someone reported what they believed was a body on their property off Bagby Road.
I brought you guys a story, I believe it was last week, on a missing individual named Jayden McComber. There has actually been an update, a major update. It's not great news, but it is a real mystery of what's going on. Stay tuned, Fugitive TV. Welcome to Fugitive TV, and I am your host, Ray Marcel, where we take a look at cases. And what we do is we take a look at them from a different perspective, because I was once a fugitive on the run from the law myself. I did it for about 15 years. I lived in different countries under different names after I committed some white collar crime, ended up turning myself in. Now I am a business owner. I own a couple companies. I'm talking to you guys on this YouTube channel. I'm a motivational speaker, and I help families locate missing people or people who need to be brought to justice, because I know what it's like to be on the run, so I know exactly what they're thinking and probably where they're going. And I also bring cases to spotlight that I think needs to be shown. This is one of those cases. Jayden McComber, I did a video on him. It was not long ago, actually. I want to say maybe the end of last week. I did a video on him. Now, Jayden McComber is an 18-year-old. And originally he was reported missing, okay? So he was reported missing, and his truck, it was weird. He was reported missing, but he had a truck, and his truck was seen driving around. Now, this is a story that's out of Virginia, okay? His truck was seen driving around in Virginia, and it was seen driving around through flock cameras and video cameras and things like that. And the weird thing about this is the truck was allegedly, let's say, in one town 1 minute, and then 45 minutes later or 40 miles later, it would be in another town over here. So whoever was driving his truck was driving around everywhere all over Virginia. It wasn't like this little small place that he was driving. It was driving a lot of places. Well, he was missing, and people are wondering what's going on with Jayden. Well, there was a body that was discovered, okay? A body was discovered in a rural area by a person that was riding an ATV.
And I'm Heather Hope. Officials say they've been working around the clock to identify this victim. The unidentified man was found after someone reported what they believed was a body on their property.
8 News reporter Allison Williams is in Caroline with the latest from officials. Sick and deliberate. That's what the Caroline County Sheriff's Office says about this homicide. They say it's been challenging to identify the male victim, and that whoever is responsible intentionally tried to conceal his identity. Careful, methodical work. The Sheriff's Office working closely with the medical examiner, hopefully giving the victim's families answers, bringing the suspect to justice.
We just hope that the public understands that every step that they take in the investigation is critical. It has to be well thought out. It will take time before they can release information to the public that needs to be verified, and it needs to be shared with the family first.
Dana Sherrod, the executive director of the Virginia Association of Chiefs of Police and Foundation, says law enforcement will do everything they can through DNA, dental records, or fingerprints before asking a potential family member to come look at the victim.
And I reported this body in my first video. The first video, we didn't know if that body was his or not, okay? We just know the body was found. And I told you guys, the body has not been identified. We don't know. But what made people believe this body was him was Jayden had an air tag. And his air tag pinged to that area of where the body was at. So that's why people believed it was him. Now, there's a reason why they never gave us the identification of this body, and I'm going to tell you exactly why. But come to find out, that body was not his. It's somebody else's, and they don't know who this person is. It was first reported it was a body of a man, and I'm going to tell you why they reported that. Come to find out, it's actually a woman. Now, I said Jayden is no longer missing because when they discovered that body, they started looking in the area, and there was a pond in the area. I believe it was 1.5 miles away. And when they went to that pond, they found Jayden's body. So they did find Jayden's body.
Investigative vehicles, they got the tape up here on Passing Road. They are on scene of a second body that's been found in 4 days. As night falls in Sparta, investigators discover another body. It's in an area investigators were searching on Friday. Tuesday afternoon, the body of Hopewell missing teen Jayden McComber, found on an outer marshy area of Birds Mill Pond.
We know that the individual that was found today is Jayden McComber, and that individual is 18 years old. This is a very tragic event. We still have not identified the other individual that we located before, and we're working with the medical examiner's office to try to find that identity.
This area about 5 miles from where a woman's body was discovered off Bagby Road by a man riding his ATV on his property Friday afternoon.
From up the hill, Fogg says he watched as the Caroline County Sheriff's Office pulled a body from the pond just under the bridge overlooking the dam on Passing Road. The Sheriff's Office later identifying the body as missing Hopewell teenager Jayden McComber. He was reported missing last Friday.
It's just kind of on the scary side of what's going on. So
the chilling recovery happening just days after the body of an unidentified woman was found just 5 miles away on Bagby Road.
We're actually working this as a homicide.
According to Crime Insider sources, McComber's family says the 18-year-old's AirTag last pinged in the 2100 block of Newtown in Caroline County, just a mile from where the woman's body was found. Medical officials are still working to identify her.
And we're going to do everything we can to resolve this matter.
Jayden's body was found about 1.5 miles away from the first body they found. Now, they are saying that there is foul play, especially with the first body. And I'm going to tell you, why. They're not telling us exactly like how Jayden passed or anything like that. They're not saying that yet. But they're investigating both of these as homicides, okay? Let me read you this article, okay? I'm going to read you an article. So this article is from WRIC, Caroline County, and it says missing Hopewell 18-year-old found dead in Caroline. Death linked to deeply disturbing homicide case. The remains of an 18-year-old Hopewell man were found at Caroline County Pond, with investigators saying his death may be related to a recent deeply disturbing homicide case. On Thursday, March 26, 18-year-old Jayden Michael McComber of Hopewell was reported missing under suspicious circumstances. Now, they're not giving us what these suspicious circumstances is. They're not saying they're not giving us that detail. But it says he had last been seen leaving his home in the 2500 block of Richmond Street the night before on Wednesday, March 25th. The evening of Tuesday, March 31st, the Caroline County Sheriff's Office announced that its deputies had found McComber's remains while searching a pond near the boundary line between Caroline and King and Queen counties. The recovery of McComber's remains comes just days after a Carolina property owner found an unidentified female's body on their property on Friday, March 27th. So that unidentified female's body, that originally was the body that they thought was a male. Okay, and you're probably like, well, how did they think? Like I said, I'm going to tell you that, all right? So originally, this was the body they thought was a male. Originally, this body was the body that some people assumed it was Jayden, okay? Because of the AirTag pinged to that location, and they found the body. Now, it says, investigators continue to work diligently. We are confident that those responsible will be identified and held accountable. The sheriff's office said, based on information developed so far, investigators do not believe these incidents were random acts. So they don't think this was random, okay? As of the time of reporting, the victim in the initial homicide investigation is still in a process of being identified due to the sick and deliberate methods used to make identification harder. I'm going to explain that, okay? Officials have since announced that the identified victim is a female. I am extremely proud of the work of our investigators, said Caroline Sheriff Scott Mozar in a statement issued Friday. They have worked around the clock under very difficult circumstances, following the leads and piecing together critical information that led to today's development. While this is a tragic situation, we are making significant progress and remain confident that those responsible will be brought to justice. Okay. Now, this is from, like I said, WRIC. Now, here is a statement from the sheriff's office. This is a statement on the body that they can identify. It says, incident being investigated as a homicide. Update, Caroline County, Virginia. Since the initial response, investigators with the Caroline County Sheriff's Office have been working around the clock to advance this investigation. Investigation continue to follow up on leads and are actively coordinating with multiple law enforcement partners as a part of comprehensive investigative efforts. Investigators have made significant progress. However, the identity of the deceased individual has not yet been positively confirmed. Due to the efforts taken by the persons responsible for this crime to conceal the individual's identity, the identification process in the case is complex and requires careful, methodical work and coordination with the office and the chief medical examiner. Despite these challenges, investigators remain focused and are utilizing all available resources to establish identification and continue moving this case forward. This remains as an active homicide investigation based on the information available at this time. Investigators continue to believe this is not a random incident. This is one of the more disturbing cases our office has encountered. The sick and deliberate efforts taken to conceal the victim's identity have made his investigation more complex. While our investigators have remained focused and determined, we are making progress and we will continue to pursue every lead until we identify this individual and bring home those responsible to justice. Now, as you're reading this, so they did whatever it takes to conceal the body, as in, or identity. So as in, dismembering certain limbs, or possibly even burning the victim, or possibly both. I'm going to tell you exactly what one report I read and a little inside information that I got. I'm going to tell you about that right now.
The sheriff says.
It was a horrific scene. I don't want to give any more details than that, but it was bad enough where it did not appear to be a female, but we later found out it was a female.
McComber, in a pickup truck he's been in, is the focal point of the sheriff's office investigation. Now that McComber's body has been found, investigators say they're working around the clock to piece what's being treated as a double homicide investigation together.
They've been on the clock constantly, around the clock, working on this case, and they've actually went out through the entire state picking up on leads, following leads, pulling videotapes. So they're actually in the process of come to a conclusion of what's going on.
Now, with the first body, as you saw, the sheriff said that the person pretty much did some sick stuff to try and conceal the identity of the first body. And I don't know if this is true, but I read some reports that when they found the body, the reason why they didn't know if it was a female or a male, they assumed, was because there was no face. It was either no face or no head, one of the two. I'm not sure which one it is, but they couldn't identify the individual because of that. So yes, if there's no head, then you probably don't know if it's a male or female. You probably could be guessing just by the clothes, right? And then not only that, the hands, the fingers. Allegedly the hands or fingers were destroyed or missing, and that's another reason why I guess the identification thing. Like I said, this is just a report that I read. So either the head was missing or completely just destroyed or obliterated to where you couldn't even see, or the hands, same thing, missing or they couldn't see. Now, as you saw, Jayden's body was 1.5 miles away from the first body. And they said they started searching the area. So this could be a couple reasons why they even start searching the area to begin with. So if the hands and head, let's say they were missing, Then, of course, they're going to search the area to try and find the rest of the body parts or, anything like that. So they're going to search all that. And that could be how they came across, Jayden. They're looking for clues and then they came across. Now, they're not saying how they're related, but they are saying that these two individuals knew each other. That's what they're saying. So they did know each other. I am currently right now trying to investigate and look to see if there's anybody else that could have been missing. That was involved with Jayden or in that area. So I'm looking at that right now. But I figure I'd give you guys this update. It's a tragic, sad update, especially for the first individual, well, both of them. But we don't even know who the first person is, and for that to be done to them. And whoever did this to the first individual, did they do this to Jayden too? Did they do it to Jayden as well? Now, when it comes to Jayden's truck, I don't know if this was true, but I did read a report that they did find his truck. Now, they didn't say they found somebody driving it. They just said they found the truck. So we don't know exactly like what's going on. A lot of us are left up in the air as in who's responsible, who was driving the truck. Did they pull somebody over driving the truck, or did they find a truck under a bridge? So there's a lot of mystery going on with this. My condolences go out to both families, Jayden's family and the individual's family that we don't know who it is. Hopefully we'll find soon. I'm going to do a little more digging on this, and I'm going to give you an updated video on this later on. But I want to bring you the update, tragic update coming out of Virginia. So sorry to hear this. 18-year-old went missing, and eventually they did find his body, and they think it's foul play. 1.5 miles away from another body that's a female that they can't identify because the person went through desperate measures to make sure you couldn't identify the body. All right. Please like, subscribe, share this video so others can see this video. Maybe somebody might know something and they can say anything. Okay. My information is always below. You're always welcome to tell me anything and I can relay a message. I will keep you anonymous. Please, this is Fugitive TV. You guys have helped me grow tremendously. I'm almost at 25,000 subscribers. I have done this in 10 months. I am one of the fastest growing YouTube channels in the true crime sector. And you guys, thanks to you guys have been showing me a lot of love. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. And like I said, comment below what where you're from. You know the drill. Comment below where you're from, city, state. I always interact with people. That's what I do. I interact with people. I try and interact with as much people as I can in the comments. And make sure you look out for one another. Please take care of your surroundings, watch your surroundings, and watch for your surroundings, okay? This is Fugitive TV. Until next time, I am out.